Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Campus Operation and Collaborations. This is a 2-hour session. We have 6 different presentations that we're spacing every 20 minutes. So we'll have a Q&A after each presenter. So we make sure that everybody starts at their designated time slot because I'm sure some are coming in for maybe some specific presentations or have to drop off. So again, welcome to official GIS Day. My name is Erin Much. I'm with UC Merced, and I'll be your moderator. Our first presentation is GeoConnect, creating a research-informed UC-wide GIS resource presented by Maggie Tarmy with UCLA. So Maggie has been extremely busy leading GIS Week activities in addition to this presentation. So I appreciate your efforts and your leadership and look forward to your presentation.
Thanks so much, Erin. Can everybody see my slides? Awesome. So yes, I'm here to talk about GeoConnect. I'm so excited to talk about GeoConnect. I get to do it a lot, but somehow never feels like enough. And before we get into GeoConnect, I want to give a little bit of background. So GeoConnect is not just me. GeoConnect is a big team. We are loosely classified ourselves as the GeoConnect working group. Many of these folks are on this call. You have seen many of us this week throughout UCGIS week. I'm not going to go through all of us individually. Most, but not all of us work in a UC library of some kind, but not everybody. And we all have a variety of backgrounds in terms of our GIS, in terms of what we do in our current roles and what we have done historically prior to our current jobs. We've connected through two different ways. We have a UC/Stanford Maps and Geospatial Data, CKG, which stands for Common Knowledge Group. These are primarily groups for members of UC libraries, and then ours happens to include Stanford. And for us, it's people who work with maps and geospatial materials. We meet about once a month on Zoom to do some knowledge sharing and collaboration between our campus libraries. And then our second group where we connected was UC GIS Leadership. UC GIS Leadership is the organization that puts on UC GIS Week every year. UC GIS Leadership meets about quarterly. And while many of the folks from the CKG are involved in UC GIS Leadership, the UC GIS Leadership is a broader group that includes GIS professionals in a variety of roles beyond the libraries on our UC campuses. So we work to share knowledge across our campuses, support GIS roles with teaching, research, outreach. And so through these two groups is how we were able to connect for the GeoConnect work. So in terms of what we were actually trying to do, as we all know, GIS, rapidly evolving, very complex field. And on each of our campuses within our libraries, we maintain resource guides on a variety of topics. And we all have guides on our campuses for GIS, geospatial resources. And we've been discussing in one of our meetings, why do we have our 10 separate campuses attempting to update, maintain 10 separate resource guides when we could collaborate on a system-wide, UC-wide resource and actually share that labor, share that work, and create hopefully a better and stronger final product. And this happens to actually align with two of our long-range UC libraries system-wide goals, which are to optimize and develop shared services, and then to also maximize discovery of and access to information resources. Again, having one centralized guide, we're hoping will be able to make things much more accessible and easier to find than 10 smaller resource guides that are not shared among our campuses. So to do this, we have been leveraging a lot of research resources across the UC. Different campuses have access to different things, and because our GeoConnect working group has folks from 7 different UC campuses, we've been able to pull from a lot of different materials. So we have a variety of free and open source softwares that we've been able to utilize. Through Merced, we've been able to utilize a Qualtrics account for a survey, which I will talk about later. You may be familiar with the UC Google Drive storage space issues. Right now, we are using a Berkeley shared drive space that we were formerly on with UC San Diego. Most of our Zoom accounts for focus groups that I'll also talk about later have been through UC Irvine. You may not know this, but every UC has slightly different permissions enabled for their Zoom accounts. We found that UC Irvine had all the right permissions that we needed for what we wanted to do. We have used Otter AI to use some transcripts and transcript cleaning up for those focus groups through a UC San Diego account. And then our IRB has been filed through actually both Merced and UCLA. We filed through Merced originally, but then the funds for our grant was actually at UCLA. And in order to actually spend our research funds, it turned out that we had to actually go through the entire IRB process again at UCLA in order to distribute our funds. So if you've done IRB, you know how fun that is. And we got to do that twice. So twice the IRB fund. Ultimately, our goals for GeoConnect are twofold. We want to assess our GIS users, which is you all of our UCGIS Week participants, and then some, on our campuses with regards to what geospatial research resources and support they need, and then to finally collaboratively organize these resources into a centralized hub to support our UC community. So what have we accomplished so far? We've been at this for about 2 years now. We were awarded a LAUC, or the Librarians Association of the University of California research grant in January of 2024. We spent some time creating and then deployed a survey of our UC GIS users that October. This past February and March, we did 5 focus group sessions. And then we spent the summer and early fall doing some qualitative data analysis of our focus group transcripts and open-ended survey questions. This fall, we determined the scope of our centralized resource hub that we will be building. And then we just wrapped up an environmental scan of potential platforms and are now finally building out our resources that we want to include on this guide. So I want to talk a little bit about our survey. Some of you in this space may have actually done our survey, and if you did, we're very, very thankful. So ultimately, our survey was designed in order to try and determine what tools are our patrons using for GIS tasks, and what are their information-seeking behaviors when they need help. So some of these questions included asking about softwares, different resources they go to for help, and what do they like to do in order to learn a new GIS concept. We had 119 respondents from all 10 campuses, which was really exciting to get everybody represented. And we had a huge range of disciplines represented and also statuses. So staff and faculty were most popular in our responses, but we also had some graduate and undergraduate students respond as well. And these came from all types of departments beyond just kind of your standard, oh, of course, geography is using GIS. Everything from geography to ethnic studies to campus emergency systems to the hospitals and those providing medical care through the UC. You name it, we probably had a respondent from that type of discipline or department. And some highlights from our surveys were that over 80% of our respondents said that they were sometimes or very often asked for GIS support. And some of these types of support that these folks are providing, including things like accessing software and licensing issues, helping people find GIS data, explaining concepts and techniques, making maps, and some folks are teaching full-blown GIS courses or workshops. And then in terms of these support resources, we asked, what are they using most frequently? And we had a clear preference for formal software documentation, your Esri, your QGIS manuals, online forums like Stack Exchange, and online videos like YouTube. You can note that these are all asynchronous methods of information access, and they are often available on demand as a result. And we will say, though, some people did really enjoy in-person workshops and working with others in order to do some creative problem solving, particularly for more tricky issues that are harder to find a solution for in something like a forum or a video. Moving into our focus groups, which, as I mentioned, we did after our survey, we did these 90-minute Zoom sessions. And among all of us, none of us really had much experience facilitating focus groups, so we did a lot of reading and research to try and make sure we could do the best that we could. And so our general structure had an introduction where did an overview of our project goals and our survey results, which covered about the first half hour of these sessions. And then we had some small group questions in breakout rooms with a maximum of 5 participants per breakout room. And we would had 4 questions overall. So our first 2 questions were in the same breakout room. We brought folks back, we reshuffled them, and then asked our third and fourth questions. And then we would bring everybody back at the end to have them let us know if there was anything else that did not come up in the breakout rooms that they still really wanted to make sure that we got from them. And we use Miro board, which we'll look at in a moment, and also verbal responses to allow for interactivity and participation in a few different ways. So we had 4 questions. Our first 2 were about barriers. What barriers do you have to getting support, and what do you think would help you overcome these barriers to find your geospatial resources and support? So we had those first 2 questions in a breakout room, then we brought them back, shuffled them again to have different groups, and then brought them back to ask the third and fourth question. We gave them some of these geospatial workflows that are very popular, are very frequently used. And then we wanted to ask them what are some workflows that we may have missed? What are things people are asking you about often that it would be really handy to, instead of having to meet with people and go through things step by step, if you could first point them to a resource guide and say, take a look at this first, see if that helps, and then if not, then we can try and work through the problems together. And then in terms of that too, we also asked, how do you see AI filling some of these gaps? Still very early to see how some of these new AI tools are able to help. But we asked some questions too around seeing, where folks see this potentially going in the future. And then ultimately, our last question, we're here to create this hub. What are features or characteristics that you would like to see in this eventual geospatial resource hub? And so this is a screenshot of one of our Miro boards. You're able to zoom in and out as you go. And we had a different Miro board for each focus group. You have these little stickies that we had the different breakout rooms use that you can type on, you can move them around, add lots of things. It was my first time using Miro board. I thought it was really useful. And then here's a little zoom in of some of our actual Miro board responses. So our initial takeaways to focus on some broad topics that apply to users at all of our campuses or as many campuses as possible. Because it's really hard, we are realizing, to try and straddle a line between your sort of beginner topics and more advanced questions and topics. So right now in our initial scope, we are focusing on our user that, quote, I just want to make a map. I don't really know how to make a map, but I want to make a map. How do I do that? Potentially in later iterations of GeoConnect, if we're able to expand on this in the future, maybe we'll be able to dive into some more advanced questions and topics. But for now, we're trying to start at a ground level for an entry level or GIS user. Maybe you've taken a GIS class, maybe you've never taken a GIS class, but you just want to make a map. How do you get there? And so the time spent with the team, qualitative coding of our focus group results and open-ended survey questions. Some key areas that came up frequently involved, instruction and learning new topics, data, not necessarily an analysis focus, but data sets and verifiable and reputable data sets, how to find them, where to find them, getting through some basic GIS concepts, and then again, like I mentioned, map making really big and geospatial analysis really big. So putting this all together, we did a platform environmental scan of a few different options, and then we've also been reviewing our current guides that we maintain through our libraries. And ultimately, we have decided to use GitHub Pages as our final platform, and we are building out resources and topics. So as I mentioned, common questions and workflows, a lot of these align along this I just want to make a map mystery user that we've created. And then the other half of this is authoritative data sets. As we are the University of California, we are focusing mostly on California-based resources, California-based data sets. And then we are also drafting our documentation and importantly, community agreements. Part of this is about sustainability. It is really hard to have only one or two people attempting to do this work. We want to make sure that folks that work on this project have an idea of the community that they are working with and that they will be able to contribute to the best of their abilities to support to this project. And our goal is to have our guide ready to launch by the end of this year. Might be a little bit lofty, but I really hope that can be the case. But we are hard at work on this. Really briefly, too, some lessons learned. It's been really fun and valuable to slow down and ask these questions of why and what and who. We are so often in our day to day super busy, just hopping from one email to the next, one problem to the next, one consultation to the next, that having this time dedicated to meet every week and really survey our users and have these 90-minute focus groups and take this time has been super valuable. The IRB process was also pretty interesting for us, as I alluded to earlier. We had to do IRB twice. Twice as nice to have two IRBs. Uh, we will not make that mistake in the future, hopefully, as that is very time consuming. And then collaboration and resources, leveraging different tools from our campuses has been really interesting. It's been interesting to see who has access to what. And then for our centralized hub, we want to create a space for our community, a place to connect people with authoritative data sources, and to have shared editing and contributions to our resources that we create so that not just our team of initial 7 people can contribute, but that hopefully it can become something that more people can contribute to in the future as we move forward to really be able to have this be a community generated space for our community users, which again is all of you guys as UCGIS Week participants. So I know I hauled through that really fast. There's a lot to cover. I'm so excited to at some point be able to share this resource with you all. I'll drop this link in the chat so you can take a peek at our webpage where we have a little bit more about our work. And I'm also happy to take questions at this time.
I don't see any questions yet. I just wanted to maybe note, and maybe all of you understand this already, but for those who don't, even though we're all separate campuses and we have separate issues, this group really is passionate about collaborating and working together. And it's been a gift, as far as I'm concerned, to be able to work with everyone at the UC. And I hope that this event is also um, an example of how our collaboration is very effective. And so the question is, how can we get involved? That's a really good question, Aaron. Um, I don't know the answer, Maggie, yet. I mean, how can someone get involved?
TBD. TBD. We have completed, as I mentioned, the survey and focus groups, which was our first big sort of lift of our community to ask to be involved in, and we're super grateful to everyone who was able to participate in that. I think once we go live, we will definitely be asking folks to provide a lot of feedback, right? So I think we'll be able to share this resource through these connections, these emails, communication lines that we've opened up with UCGIS Week. And so stay tuned, I think, is my answer to that.
Well, I appreciate the willingness of wanting to get involved. So yeah, we will make sure that we that that the outreach is out there and continue to move forward. But thank you so much, Maggie, for this presentation and all of your efforts with this event. So since we're closing in on 3:20, I'm gonna introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Anna Maldonado with UC San Diego. Her presentation is Designing a Campus Map in Experience Builder. So I look forward to what you have to show us today. Um, and get your slides shared. I'm sure Danielle's got that going, right?
Yeah, I can pull them up.
Okay.
Thanks, Lauren. Thank you, everyone. And like I mentioned, my name is Anna Maldonado, and I'm a GIS analyst at UC San Diego. I'm in the Operations Management and Capital Programs wing. And my presentation is going to be covering, designing a campus map and experience builder and the steps I took to do that for UCSD. And I presented on this last year, but I thought I would cover the why we're building a campus map again. And the project has also evolved so much since last year. So I'll be sharing the new developments. And I began with our current campus map. The platform is one that some of you may be familiar with. It's Concept 3D. And it's been our campus map, our public-facing campus map for some years now. And over those years, our list of limitations has grown, and it really stems from the nature of the map and it being a static artistic representation of the campus. It's not dynamic in terms of our building footprints, our streets, addresses, which is all data that we do maintain, and we're unable to link that data to a static map like this one. The data maintenance for it is tedious and entirely manual as well. And it's difficult to synchronize across different systems and tables. So you can imagine updates happening in two different places just leads to errors, things being out of date, stale information, and so forth. And our user feedback really is indicating a desire for a more interactive, a spatially accurate and intelligent map, which is where the GIS Campus Map project stemmed from. So with the GIS Campus Map, everything that I mentioned, Concept 3D can't really offer, we are able to do with GIS. We're able to integrate the data that we maintain, our building footprints from our CAD drawings, our ground level layers of vegetation and paths. We can bring in additional data that we have. This might be parking, our shuttles, public buses, and eventually indoors, which is a project that Jimmy, my coworker, will share about in a bit. And we can also build multiple maps. So Concept 3D, right now, it's just a single map, and we're a very big campus with many mapping needs, and we're able to customize this GIS map to fit those needs. It might be an emergency map, an art map, a sustainability map. We can use the same authoritative data without making copies to fit and answer those different needs. So now diving into the actual building of our Experience Builder campus map, I'm going to cover the different elements, beginning with the base map, which is really the cornerstone of the map, our ground level layers and the styling of those vector tiles, the additional data sets that feed the application, which are points of interest that feed the search, our routing network that feed our directions widget. Then going into the Experience Builder itself, I'll cover the user interface for both the desktop and our mobile, and cover some of the widgets and triggers behind those buttons. And then I'll touch on our 3D campus map as well as some live data. So this is a vector tile map first published from ArcGIS Pro. And as you can see, these are the layers included. We have our hardscape and landscape features, building footprints, street center lines here, some region labels, a boundary, which is a bit difficult to see it in this stage, and transportation striping that becomes visible as you zoom in, as well as trees. This is real tree data from our university. And so in ArcGIS Pro, I applied some basic styling, but you can take it a step further using vector tile style editor. And when I slide this over, you can see the difference in the different styling that you can apply. And just even noting these construction buildings, you can see the different patterns that are applied to them. Zooming in here, when you're zoomed out, maybe there's just a plain polygon. Zooming in, you see some grass texture. And they're really minimal changes, but I think that they enhance the visual experience and cartography of the map, which I think we all know increases the usability of a map. A person enjoys looking at it, interacting with it, you return to it, you share it, which are all things that we want from a user experience point. So to touch on how that was done, I used some sprites, which are these raster images that you can apply to either points like the trees or to polygons to create a texture or pattern. Most of these are from Esri. The construction hatch was easy enough, so I built that one myself. These can be applied to the polygons and they repeat themselves. And this is inside of the vector tile style editor itself. Just to demonstrate, if I were to click on the building, you can see the hatch that I used there. If you wanted to change it to one of your different sprites, you can change it. And there's really a lot of customization that's available in this, which is also available in Pro, but this interface makes it relatively easy. You can apply different line thicknesses or weights depending on the scale that allows for example, our street center lines don't crowd the map at this scale. They get smaller and smaller as you zoom out. They increase in size as you zoom in. Same with our striping. It's on, but not so thick at this extent. You zoom in, it becomes a little more prominent without crowding the map. And additionally, just to mention some of the other small stylistic things, we have some shadows applied to our buildings. If I were to turn this off, you can see the difference. And it's just a different copy of the building footprint there and adjusted a bit its position and the opacity of it. And it really increases the aesthetic and stylistic representation of the map. And just to mention those thematic maps that I brought up earlier, designing different base maps or maps for different purposes, you can use that same vectors tile style editor on the exact same original hosted tile layer from ArcGIS Pro to apply a different style. For example, a light gray campus map, but sometimes something that we need for additional contrast features. And you can rebuild the cache or schedule a cache rebuild inside of Portal or ArcGIS Online. And that way you make any changes to your names, names, building footprints, whatever it might be, ground level layers. And those changes all get pushed out to all of your base maps, all different styles simultaneously. And they are always up to date, which is our favorite thing to hear. So to touch on the other data that drives our campus map or the points of interest, a few of which are highlighted here. We are just displaying the link because we noticed that static text descriptions quickly go out of date, and since other departments maintain them, we found it easier to link just to websites where the department itself is in charge of updating their resource. This drives the search as well on the Experience Builder. And this is a portion of our wayfinding network, which has been worked on by students over the years and refined, and that allows for our routing layer and directions to function. So finally, this is the Experience Builder itself, our Campus Map Experience Builder. And you can see the base map that's built there. And we can explore the points of interest divided into subclasses. And these are all buttons that have been configured. Just as an example, we could toggle on the coffee layer and explore the different coffee locations on campus. If we wanted to see a list of all of the coffee locations, that's available as well. And for our points of interest that we might have images for, we could view our art, and we happen to have images for them, so we can explore them and have a bit more of a visual experience. You can click on an item and it will zoom you over to that point of interest. We could search for a specific point of interest. You could also search within the list itself. And we also have some directions here. It takes a minute to load. If you type in a starting or ending location, it'll recognize the points of interest or the buildings. You can draw on the map, which is one of my favorite features because I've seen so many different screenshots of a campus map and different editing tools. Well, now you could do it inside of the map, which is personally really helpful to me. You could share the link, which will have URL parameters attached to it. So it'll save the pop-up that you have opened and your zoom extent or rotation of the map, print, and another button to display our additional GIS websites and links. And just to dive into the Experience Builder interface itself, I wanted to just demonstrate a little bit about how the buttons are set up. These are buttons. There's a few different views configured. And so when the button is clicked, it also toggles open the sidebar. It's linked to the view of the dining list. And similarly, these are buttons set to a coffee list here. And this is also not static. data. If I take off the live view, these text here are dynamic content coming from our points of interest layer filtered to the coffee, and it's just displaying the updated name of the feature and the facility long name there. So if any of this were to change in the layer, it will update on the experience builder without us having to come in and manually update it, which is not the case for Concept 3D and the cause of many of our headaches. And lastly, on this page, I wanted to show our 3D scene, which is not yet publicly available because it's still being worked on. Um, but as this loads a bit, we can see that there's also some 3D extrusions of our building footprints that combined with the 2D, I think really provides additional context for the campus, building heights, and could allow someone to navigate with greater ease. And to show that live data, we're working on integrating our shuttles as well as the public buses that run through campus. And if you follow bus 201 here, you can see it update and move on the map. And this is now up and running on our GIS campus map. This is configured using Geo Event Server. And we're hoping to also incorporate arrival times, the routes, and schedules for those as well. And to touch on the mobile browser version of the map as well, you could see the same vector tile there loading quite quickly. And the points of interest are consolidated into the sidebar, and you could explore them in a similar manner, turning on the markets and retail here, opening the points of interest to see the link. And you could search as well, search for that bare art piece, and it will zoom us over and drop a pin to where that is located. Similarly, we also have the sharing widget configured here with the QR code. It's shareable. We have our links to our additional GIS apps as well as directions. And so this campus map is not done yet. We're hoping to have a public launch next year in 2026 to replace our Concept 3D campus map. And indoors at UCSD is underway. We're hoping to, like I mentioned, develop the 3D further and make that publicly available, incorporate that live data for their shuttles and arrival times. And in the future, ideally, we would like when students are registering for classes and they see a classroom code on their schedule, they're able to see the location linked on a GIS campus map. That's all. Thank you very much.
Well, we have about 7 minutes until the next presentation, but it looks like members of your team are going to present next. So maybe we'll start them early, but I'm trying to come up with some questions because I know that this is probably a challenge to kind of integrate what has been built by a vendor and try to match those functionalities internally. So what do you find is that what is your biggest concern as far as making sure that this is a usable product to the campus community?
Yeah, I think making sure that our server, since it's hosted on our enterprise instance, is up to speed and can uh yeah, can make how do I describe it? It can take all of the views or however many visits that our current campus map receives and perform the same way that the layers can draw well, that the point of interest pop up correctly. I think loading time. Loading time is one of our number one concerns.
I mean, that's definitely fair and valid, especially if you're dealing in a mobile environment and students are on their phone and they might not have great cell coverage or whatnot. Yeah, that's definitely a concern. Do you have any collaborative oversight of the design of the map, or as far as like, do you have different department stakeholders, or is this something, it needs to get done, you have the infrastructure and the technical leadership to make it happen, or do you have to get feedback from other campus departments?
Yeah, transportation is one of our biggest stakeholders on campus, especially for parking, because that's the number one most visited link on the current campus map is to look for parking. So that's a big collaboration there. We do have some help from our IT team. This map actually is currently under review with our UI UX team. We're waiting on their feedback, but that will hopefully also yeah, increase the usability of the map.
Yeah, because we also have our ADA to look out for too, which is
Definitely.
really important. And I know Esri is very supportive, and as far as uh, making sure the products do what you need them to do. But overall, fantastic work. I look forward to seeing what you um, can publish next year, and I'm very glad that you shared your work with us. Um, any other questions? I don't want to start too early because I want to make sure that everybody's times are as scheduled.
There's a comment from Mono
Oh, hey.
in the chat.
Yes, so it was more of a comment, but I guess I could zhuzh it up a little bit because I agree with the statement. Liking the idea of showing that GIS can outperform Concept 3D and be more cost effective. So I don't know how much Concept 3D costs, or I know San Diego uses it. I don't know what other campuses use it, but I know from my own experience there is um a desire, or like let's do a vendor based something cool and flashy in 3D, but by having all of the infrastructure managed internally, because you know what's going on, a vendor's not visiting the campus, vendor's not working on the campus, and they're not interacting with the students. You're going to have a better understanding of what is happening on the ground that maybe a vendor could. But also, in addition to that there's something now that we can use that performs well, that does the wayfinding, that does all the data management. And again, in turn, a centrally managed database will make us a lot more cost effective, which I think is the ultimate goal. Um, that and usability. But I don't know if that's what you want to say, Mona, but I'm just kind of like adding to it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
oh, go for it. Go for it, yeah.
just agreeing with Aaron.
Oh,
That was the sentiment.
oh, thank you.
Yeah, I
Um,
was just going to add that I am not also familiar exactly with how it works, but I believe we get two regularly scheduled updates to that Concept 3D campus map. And it's my understanding that any other change or update that we want to make, we have to pay extra for, which what I described, we can now do it on our own, and it's relatively quick and low to no cost.
well, I have to say again, I'm not trying to kill time. I'm just sharing my own experience because I was looking at the Concept 3D map at the same on a different computer while you were showing your experience builder, and I'm impressed. That's really great work. As far as I wouldn't have, I mean, I I wouldn't have known the difference if I didn't really know the difference, or understand the technology. So, and I know 3D is very attractive, and everybody wants 3D, but again, there's a performance issue that you mentioned earlier. So, yeah, I think the design looks really good. Again, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I want to just make sure to compliment the work is really looks great. So keep up the good work.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, well, I guess I bloviated enough. But your teammates here, Xingji Huang and Diana Henderson, are here to talk about bridging campus operations with location intelligence. They are also with UC San Diego, and I'm looking forward to what they have to share with us. So I'll have you share your slides if you can. I think your audio is good. We tested it earlier. So take it away.
That is a tough act to follow, Anna. Nice job. I did want to mention, yeah, Anna's been working really hard on that campus map, and as you see, there is some real positive um, outputs from what she has described. And yeah, we are certainly talking to other stakeholders, certainly have conversations with ADA and marketing in terms of how we can use this kind of overall as the one map, right, to rule them all. That and really one data, right? It's as many applications as we can build, and that's the beauty of GIS. Another thing that Concept 3D does not do, right? It's one in environment and application. So with that, let me start with I'm Diana Henderson. I'm the GIS program manager at UC San Diego, and uh, really the star of our show here today is Jinyi. She helped implement this application and has been working hard to develop it and manifest it in terms of how we can better serve our UCSD campus constituents and community. Go to the next slide. So really just short introduction to us. I know this is a 15-minute presentation, so we won't get too far into this, but our GS department at UC San Diego essentially started about 6 years ago. Funny enough, that's about when I started at UC San Diego. And in earnest, we really developed ourselves into being again, one source, centrally located geospatial information. And then really a lot of what I have done, what Janine and Anna have done over the last year and a half since they've been on board is educate people in terms of the capabilities of GIS and how that is location is absolutely critical in most of the operations that we perform as a body. So we have leadership now that is supportive and engaged and forward thinking in terms of what GIS is and understanding even ITS. I will tell you, they have some ITS members who are leaning into GIS and really want to stay involved, and push the envelope and understand that GIS as a program and as a system is here to stay, and not only here to stay, but it could potentially overtake other operational systems, and is a long-term solution and guide for what we are trying to hang these other informational databases off of. So with that, oh, I'm sorry, we're going to move on to the next slide for the background for this particular application. And really it's a solution from the Esri solution environment. It is something that the citizen problem reporter that we implemented and then we evolved. And be that branding, be that kind of specific artistic persuasion or even regulatory or descriptive understanding that our campus wanted to pursue. So it is built because we really lacked a really good reporting mechanism for our community. And not only lacked one, again, the idea of geospatially centric solutions did not exist on this campus prior to implementing it. The existing service portals that we have are either behind SSO or simply really not very intuitive to use. We use other products that really like drill people down instead of this solution, which is you start with a geospatial point and then you include attributes as a user, only a couple of which are required. So the user experience is way better. We were looking for easy wins in GIS, always looking for easy wins. And This seems like a broader base solution. We've certainly had some wins, and this is really a bigger, more visible project, much like the campus map that Anna demonstrated, that when it is pushed out, or OSCEs are pushed out, we get a lot more visibility in the community. And as I said, this is in anticipation of our move away from kind of non-geospatially centric solutions and tying GIS into the bigger body. And as I say, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jeannie, who has done the majority of the work on this and is really done a great job in terms of project management and as well as the technical aspects of this. So on you go.
Thank you, Diana. Yeah, thank you for setting the cornerstone of this project for bringing the Citizen Problem Reporter into our system. We start from the Citizen Problem Reporter, the agile solution, but we develop it to our UC San Diego owned Report Now system. So for this system, we have four main components. First of all, for sure, is the public reporter that available for the visitors, students, staff, faculty that can submit the request. We don't require login. We just require them to provide an email address that we can follow up with them. And then the second important component of the system is the manager system. There's where we work with our internal departments, for example, the facility management, and we have the residential department, and also have the police department, etc. That are working closely with us for this managing those requests. The third important component of this model of the reporting now is the internal dashboard, where we provide more information about like how many requests has been submitted, when is the peak time for those requests being submitted. And last but not least, but is the survey that the user can be submitted to our system. We will know like if they're satisfied with the process, what's their feedback about using this platform. Start from here. I'm going to show some example about using this. So this is the interface of our reporting now system. We give them hints about like if you're in emergency, please dial 911. But for some other requests for the issue on the campus, you can feel free to use this. This is the live application, so you can see there's a lot of requests has been submitted. So I will try to do a live demo here for a few steps in the very beginning. For example, if you find some issue that happening in the remap, and thank you, Anna, for have this base map ready and have clear information about the buildings. So for example, you have some issue happening in the remap area, and probably is you found some dead and dangerous animal inside the building. So, and just to create the request type, and then if it's indoor, you can tap like which floor it is. And then you can add some additional information if you like. The other only request information that we would like to have here is the email, as I mentioned earlier, that we can provide feedback to the people who report the issue so that we will follow up with them. And then this is the first interface for the reporter. And then we have some public dashboard to summarize that, like the number of requests has been submitted for each request category. And also we have an internal dashboard that available. Also, since we released in May, we have received over 400 requests. Okay, let's go back to the slide here. So the platform, the base of it is the Citizen Problem Reporter solution. And start from there, we have some enrichment for the system. First of all is the email notification system. Right now, we configure it with the Power Automate, which you will send requests when there is a problem submitted to the system. Email will send to both the reporter and the internal department. And also we will send the reporter notification when there's status update. Maybe it's like now it's start in progress or now it's finished. And also we will have some notification when the comment is added to the request. So our internal department knowing that what is happening out there, any other updates from the reporter about the request. We're also exploring the possibility for using the Python and SME flow for this email notification so that we have more control over for the workflow here. The other enrichment we have done is adding the information of the building and then the jurisdictions and also district information into the map. So the user, as you see earlier, the user doesn't need to provide those information at all. They just need to in the app, they just need to click on the request. They can search it, tap in and at the point on the building, on top of the building there. In the backend, we will automatically populate those information for them. And the other enrichment that we have been done is working closely with the ITS team for the UI UX component as well. Firstly, we'll start with the instant app, but we found that the experience builder have more control for us to do some changes and add more elements there. So that's why we have the instant app of the reporter embedded in the experience builder. So we have more customize can be done in there. Okay, except for the enrichment, we also working on some customize of the project. So we make some change on the request viewing, so it will be more convenient for our internal department to chase those requests. We also add additional tab into the dashboard, which called the content editing and privacy update, because we understand some requests might have the information that's quite sensitive. So we provide this interface for our internal team to say that, okay, this request may need to be private, and we need to communicate with the reporter privately instead of have those requests explored to the public. So we have this option available, and this is in addition to what the citizen problem reporter has been built. The other, since we has been quite successful for releasing the public reporter, so we have different departments reach out to us reach out to our team and asking if we can have our own portion for the report now. So we're expanding the reporting now to restroom reporting, night safety reporting, and also real estate module. We are working on this. For the restroom reporting, for those expansion of the reporting now, we mainly use the story 1, 2, 3. So we use the same feature layer that is centralized manager by the reporting now system. We're just adding another method for the user to submit the request. For the restroom, the interface is quite straightforward. The user just need to scan the QR code, provide the issue, provide the email address. In the backend, we already preset those locations for them. So they don't need to worry about where they are. They just need to scan it, submit the request, and we have the centralized manager for the internal team to go over those requests. They don't need to jump over to different interface for the survey that's submitted from different methods. And another version that we are working on is the night safety, which is a bit different from the restroom because we won't know where the user would like to submit the request. So what we decide there is we have the way for them to verify the location before they submit. And also the interface is quite similar to the restroom version. You just have we curtail the list and then just have some request that is specific for the night safety. Okay, yeah, so as mentioned, this has been released for about half a year now. So, and we have the survey that available for the people who has been go through this process, receive email, communicate with the internal team. We do have some good feedback from the user about, oh, this is very convenient for them to drop the point on the map and knowing like where the issues, because sometimes I have tried call and explain like where I am. Sometimes I'm not quite sure, maybe the building names or the exact location of the issues. And this tool provides them a very interactive method to like request the problem and make the campus better. And also because we are not only working with the user, but also working with our internal team, and we have a lot of different type of feedback from them about like, can we improve this to make this like the backend manager easier to change the status and provide more introduction about how we can manage those. So we are all hearing those feedbacks and then in the progress of improving it to make it better. So in the future, For sure that we'll continue to have continuous improvement on this. We're also trying to decide a dedicated manager for each team so they don't need to go through all the requests. They just need to go to the application that designed for their team, so it will be more convenient for them. We're also working on some data integration with the GIS reporting out data to like a Tableau, or maybe in the future have the other request management system in our on our campus that is using is in use at the moment. So we're working on getting this better, and hopefully have more of this in the future. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, again, this is excellent work. I would like to encourage any questions for I'm trying to come up with one myself, but I'm just really impressed with the potential for this, because it seems like, I guess, having the ability to crowdsource these types of things are really important. I was remembering my own story when you put dangerous animal, that I was leaving work and I was trapped in a stairwell with two raccoons. And so I just had a flashback. And as a student had to lure them out with Doritos, but I couldn't go back in the building because the door locked behind me. But I could have walked by the raccoons, but I prefer not to. So at our campus, we actually had a raccoon issue because they were nesting in our stairwells. But anyway, I know. I have a picture too. I just don't have it on this computer.
Oh,
Yeah.
we
They
had
were
a
cute. They were hissing at me. And I was like, I didn't have any food, but luckily, yeah, Doritos saved the day. Um,
yeah,
Yeah, I
we
just
had
want to
a
comment.
similar
Oh,
incident with a student bringing in an animal that got loose in the library, and then they found it, or like building operations found it a few days later.
so it does
what
occur.
was it?
It was a snake.
Oh,
Yeah, I guess the
yeah,
student's apartment was being fumigated, so they brought it here for safety, but it got out of the student's backpack.
yikes. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that why not? I mean, why not bring a snake to the library? Makes sense to me. Um, any other questions? I know, Mona made a comment, and I'll just read it, unless someone wants to jump in, that this is a really good example of using our Esri solutions into the organization. I say free, they're not exactly free, but they're free, because we have so much, we have so many tools at our disposal that, like, places like Merced we're not able to leverage yet. But you guys are doing a great job leveraging these resources. And because they're designed for municipal use, this is just an excellent way to do that. And it's a great fit for universities. So thank you for that comment. Um, would there be some sort of respond connection with the police department? That was another question from the audience.
On connection. Yeah, we use the email address as a system to notify the police department that there's a email submitted, and then is for the request type or the location should be linked to should be linked to them. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be the classic, like, if this is an emergency, call 911 or go to a blue
Yeah.
phone. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. We do have that in the cover page of the request. Make sure they know that for the emergency, definitely call 911. Mhm.
Well, excellent. Yeah, that again, this is a really good example of how to use these tools, and hopefully will inspire other campuses to do the same. So again, keep up the great work. Appreciate your presentation. So we are gonna get ready for our next presentation. Danielle, from UC Riverside, to present Future Farm Now, a scalable geospatial platform for precision agriculture. Thank you for closing out today.
Okay, thanks everyone, and thanks for the introduction. So the work I'm presenting now is about a project called Future Farm Now. It's basically a website and a mobile application as well that supports farmers in doing precision agriculture. So in California, we have, a lot of agriculture applications here. Like nearly 40% of the state is of land is used for agriculture. We produce, the majority of the U.S. vegetables and produce in general. Like, 75% of the fruits and nuts are produced here in California. The economic value as well is significant, right? We have 61 billion in 2024, so last year. So it really makes it like really important to invest in agriculture, but this comes with also some challenges. So there is, of course, we're aware of the water crisis in California. We always have like drought after drought, so that's one of the biggest challenges we have. There's also fight over the water in Colorado River, not just in California, but also between neighboring states, all the states that are using the Colorado River basin. And still, like, this is still going on. We still like have issues with that between the states. Federal government might have to step in, but there's still an ongoing fight between the states over the water of the Colorado River. Not just the water, but also you have issues with like degrading soil properties. So these are all challenges that we need to face as we work in agriculture. And now one ways to overcome this problem is precision agriculture. So this is like how to utilize satellite imagery, sensors, aerial images, all of that to kind of provide a better way to do the agriculture. So whether it's like, applying water, fertilizer, using labor, all of that is really useful. And we have several products we can use, right? So what we focus on in Future Farm now is satellite data and some other raster products that can reveal many, interesting properties about soil and agriculture. For example, soil salinity, soil texture, several soil properties at different levels or different depths. That's all can be reviewed with the satellite products. Crop stress and growth patterns, right? From satellite data over time, you can see how the growth of crop is going on, and then we can use this to do things like crop yield estimation, crop stress estimation. It can also help with water usage and evaporation trends. So from if you consider this was also weather data, you can estimate how much water is used and how much water is utilized in the farm. The problem here is that most of this data is not really accessible to farmers. 90% of California farms are family owned, so they don't really have the technical expertise and the tools and time and resources to use all this remote sensing data and satellite data. So it really requires, investment in doing this. And what we want to help with is, can we use our resources to kind of reach out to all these farmers and help them? And that's where Future Farm Now comes in help. So it's an online tool. It can be accessible from a phone or from a web browser, and it gives you access to large amounts of satellite data and makes it much easier so that just from a phone you can just do a few clicks and get some information about your field and understand more how to utilize satellite data. Uh, it's really designed to be like really easy to use. So like for real world use, it's really intuitive. We try to make it as simple as possible. We don't make it like very complicated for, as what we do for scientists. We know that we are reaching out to farmers who might not really have the time to kind of invest in a steep learning curve for a new tool. So we try to make it as much as simple as possible. And even though we have some products that cover the entire US, but our focus is mainly on the Central Valley and Colorado River Basin, which are really two of the areas that we focus on in these specific projects. So what can Future Farm Now do? We have, a few features that we are already implemented in FFN, and then some of them are also coming soon. We're also working on these as well. So some of them are like about soil health and soil properties. So how to get some information about the soil at different areas. Monitor like crop using NDVI, which is the vegetation index inferred from satellite data. and also do some guidance with soil sampling if a farmer is interested in like utilizing or understanding their soil more in more detail. Some features that are coming soon are things like evapotranspiration, which just tracks like how much irrigation water is used, and it can help with irrigation decisions. Also, crop identification and health tracking is also something we are working with. So from satellite data, we can identify what crops are being planted in different areas and their health as compared to different areas. So let's look at some examples of what Future Farm Now can do. And in this case, we are looking into more than 360,000 fields across California. These are preloaded in the application, so farmers can just go there, find their location, and they can find their farm and start utilizing it or analyzing it. But they can also do, they can draw their own custom region if they don't find it there or if it's not accurate. Farmers can also outline their own farm from the satellite data, and they can save it in the app so that they can use it in the future. And this download is really efficient, so we use compression to make sure that we can download all these data in less than a minute. So just first time you open the phone app, you get this data, and then you can start working with it. So once you have this data and you identify your farm or draw it if it's not there, you can start doing things like soil analysis. So for example, you can analyze the clay decomposition or sand composition of this area, or salinity, soil salinity, right, or acidity of the soil. So you can choose which feature you're interested in. We also have data available for different depths, so from 0 centimeter up to 200 centimeter, or about 6 feet. And this is data that actually provided, like, it's a part of a project called Polaris from Duke University. So this data is already available, but it's extremely huge. It's 2 terabytes of data. So average farmers will not be able to work with it. So we make it all available without having to do any upfront download for the data. So this is an example you can see in the middle here. This is a soil content at the surface level, which is 0 to 5 centimeter, and only take less than a second to get an image like that for any area you select. Another one we have is NDVI, which is the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. It's a vegetation index inferred by satellite data. And you can choose any area you want. And as you can see here, you can choose any time range. And this shows how NDVI changes over time. Currently, we have Sentinel data, which is available at 10-meter resolution, and Landsat data at 30-meter resolution. And this data is available near real time. So like about 24-hour delay after data is available from satellite, it becomes available in the application as well. So they can always, on a daily basis, you can check the updates of the data and analyze their farm. Where in the future, we're adding also some analysis on this vegetation timeline. And also we can provide some analysis or insights or whether this is doing well or not. This is one of the upcoming features in Future Farm Now. A third one that we currently haven't featured is soil sampling. So let's say a farmer is interested in collecting some samples from their soil, send it to the lab for analysis. And the field is very big, right? So they cannot really collect soil from or sample from every part. But let's say they want to collect 5 samples. We can help them find the best places to collect these samples to kind of, represent the entire field. So we look into the existing soil properties that we already have, and based on number of samples that the user is interested in, we can tell them these are the best places to collect the soil sample. So it helps them further analyze their soil in the future. So this is just a few features that we described. I just wanted to acknowledge all the people who work on these projects, including Elias Kadir, who is in UCR, who's actually the PI of this big project that we have been working on for a few years. And I just want to see if you have any questions, and the application is available online if you'd like to check it. And there's also a phone app on iPhone if you're also interested in seeing this. So I'll be happy to get any questions you have.
So busy trying to look at the website that I forgot I'm moderating. Excellent work. I'd like to offer anybody have any questions about the application, about this excellent work? I know I'm just amazed of what we can do now with the technology. That these things were a lot harder to do even 10 years ago. So not just the technology, but just the innovation and the I guess the willingness to explore options. Yeah, I'm trying not to play with the app because I'm represent the Central Valley, so this is very interesting. Does anyone else have any questions before we close out day 2 of GIS week? Well, I just want to thank everybody for sticking out. The 2 hours actually went by amazingly fast because all these presentations were quite excellent. And appreciate the time and effort that everybody's put into this. And on that note, take care, get some rest, and we'll see you tomorrow on day 3.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for organizing.
Thank you. Happy GS Day.